I'm going to ask you one more question and then open it up to the audience. Would you push for and support term limits? This includes submitting bills to accomplish this task.
Yeah, we do. In that freshman 50 group, one of the principles of it, like I said, we support the fiscal conservative principles that are set forth in there. And we've taken the social stuff off the table because that can become very divisive and things of that nature. So we did that, but one of the principles we supported was a self-imposed 12-year term limit on ourselves in the House of Representatives, and we support legislation. And it would take a constitutional amendment to deal with that, but if that comes to be, we would support it because I think that turnover, breaking up that institutional power is important. And sometimes my campaign manager and I have a different opinion on this, and I always throw you under the bus when this question comes up. Sorry, Joe. Because there are counterpoints to it. And what I think you'll find in us folks is that we're willing to listen. I don't surround myself with yes people. I surround myself with people that can debate and tell me what they really think. And it's a fair debate to have, but I believe in term limits because of that forced turnover of institutional power.
I am supportive of term limit efforts, and I would say that when I first took office, I was less inclined in that direction, but having been there now for 5.5 years, I've seen those that just come back. I mean, we've got members of the Assembly that have been there 30 years, and it's too much. And we've got the more important thing, though, than term limits is the limits of time of the leaders in their offices, such as Sheldon Silver, the Speaker of the Assembly. He's been the Speaker for 14 years, and if they continue the majority into next year, he'll be the Speaker for 2 more years. Because the people in the leadership positions control so much of what legislation gets to the floor, and so much of the flow and the allocation of money and other money to be distributed to districts, or money in the budget to be distributed to legislative offices, how much money you get for staffing your office, on what committee assignment you get, and that your committee assignments come with an extra stipend for the extra work you do on the committee. So the more important committee assignment you get, the more income you make. So the leader can control people by giving out these positions with stipends to do that. And that's the reason we have the deadlock that we do in Albany. But we're in Albany too much. There's a quote that I love, and obviously things haven't changed too much over the years, because in 1866, Mark Twain was quoted as saying, "No man's life, liberty, or property is safe as long as the legislature is in session." And that still rings true today. We need to be part-time. Our forefathers did not envision these jobs being full-time. Our regularly scheduled session in Albany is from January through June. We don't need that much time. From January to February, we do virtually nothing. We go up there, and the expenses to call the legislature back up there is roughly $70,000 a day and a night for everybody to be there with their mileage, with their room and board, and all that. And it's outrageous to go up there and do nothing. And the past couple of years, when the governor has called us back into session, special sessions, to force us to go back there when there's no agreement on things, it's cost the taxpayers, you, $70,000 a day to call us back up there. Force us to go back to Albany for nothing to happen. And it's outrageous for that. Our legislators should be part-time. We should have real careers that we go back to and work in. We should have one foot in reality, so to speak, because Albany and Washington, D.C. is not reality. We're there far too much. We should be able to get our work done in Albany in 2 or 3 months. The budget process in Albany, in the courts have ruled, Governor Pataki had a lawsuit against the legislature, and later on in his term, that the executive, the governor, has a lot of control of the budget process in New York State, the way the Constitution is. And the executive should. The executive is the only person in the process that represents the entire state, that has the entire state's fiscal health in mind, where you've got 212 legislators that are out there that you know, I'm concerned about my district. And I want to grab and scrape for everything I can get to bring back to my district. And as long as that kind of thing is allowed through member items report, I'm going to fight for it. I think the member items should be reduced. There's a way to save money. We had none this year in the budget, and that's fine. I think there should be some money available for local projects, to have local money directed for projects of importance to the We all represent the same number of people, and I've been in the minority in the assembly, and I've gotten a lot less for my district just on the allocations. And everybody says, why do you take it? Well, because I've seen my colleagues that take a stand and say, this is a waste of money, I'm not taking it. And you know what happens when they say, I'm not going to take my $150,000 this year? My leader calls up and says, we've got some money to reallocate, you got another $4,000 to go. And so it's not saving the money anywhere, and those that use it, use it. So it needs to be, I think I'm off tangent on the thing now. The part-time legislative thing is just so critically important, because then you understand what the impact is of the regulations and taxes and fees you're putting on business and how that works. I'm an attorney, but it's a small business. I have staff of secretaries. I have to make payroll. If I don't, payroll gets paid first. I get paid last. And if things aren't being met because of the cost of doing business, then I'm the one that suffers, and I got to make it done. But if you're in the legislature, it's all you live on. We get a pretty good salary for being a part-time legislator, $79,500 a year, plus whatever stipend you get for an assignment. Pretty darn good salary for the communities that we live in here. We need legislators that are active in the real world, come home from Albany, and to work in the community with people. This full-time legislature stuff is ridiculous.